There we go. Okay. Welcome, everybody. We've got a small group right now, but I'm Dr. Cavan, and we've got Hope and Megan participating this evening in our first webinar for EDSP 5315 this summer. And our sound doesn't sound too great on my end. Hopefully we can figure out a way to improve that. It sounds kind of crackly here on my end, but we're going to close caption it, and so anybody that can't hear can just turn the sound off and read captions. And maybe we'll get a little more creative next week, and maybe I'll have another spot in the building that will be better than this one. We moved across the hall from my office, and so I'm in a classroom, and I hoped that would be better. We'll see. What I want to talk about tonight are just a few things related to the content of the course, and then just touch on maybe what's going on with the assignments for this week. So I'll see if I can, let's see, I think screen sharing is somewhere on here. If I can figure that out. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Can you all see the PowerPoint I have up?
Yes, ma'am.
It's mostly orange?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I am going to, I think I'll just do it from each slide like this so that I can still see your faces. I'm afraid if I play it like a slideshow, I won't be able to see you all. So I'll do it like this, and then when I post it, I'll post the slideshow to the web as well, and you'll be able to have access to that. So here we are on week one, and I want to just talk for a second about the components of the course. So I have posted there, I think it's on the very first page of Blackboard, a calendar that talks about the assignments that are due throughout the course, and it shows you the weeks that we have, what kind of assignments and when they're due, basically the weeks that they're due. And so this shows you a little bit of that. You refer back to that calendar for some more specifics. But we do have a discussion board every week, and I'll give you a little bit more detail about that here in just a second. We have activities every other week. We have quizzes every week. And then we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment as well. We have a choice assignment, which is a one-time activity. We have a research paper, which is a one-time activity. And then we have a group assignment. And those will come in that order, but you can refer to your calendar for those dates as well. So let's talk for a minute about the discussion board. We had a small one last week where we just introduced ourselves, and then this week we have our first, what I would call a more robust discussion board. And what I expect from those, I've got a rubric posted that will tell you what the discussion board expectations are as far as points are concerned, but it's a total of 40 points, and then it goes in descending order as to how you achieve the maximum, and then less and less and less. I'd probably rather look at it as more and more and more. But the way you receive the most amount of credit is to put your initial post up by Wednesday to get that full credit. And then, of course, there are other elements to go along with getting full credit, the complete 40 points. And you can look at the rubric that's posted to determine what exactly you have to do for those 40 points. I think if you look at Megan's from today, you can get a pretty good idea. I haven't graded it yet, but it looks pretty complete, very robust, in my opinion, just from a quick glance at that. And she gave some detail. She gave the support of sources, citation. I didn't check for APA exactly, but it looked to me at first glance like you were using pretty good approximation of APA there, Megan, and I hate to use it as a guinea pig here, but yours popped out at me. as a good example. So I'm going to use you as a guinea pig.
Thanks.
You need to follow up that first post where you give your thesis and your ideas with some additional follow-up where you bounce ideas off of your classmates. And that's a very common practice with discussion boards that I'm sure all of you have done in other classes. And you achieve more points the more people you discuss with. Like I said, you're going to support with sources, and you're going to use APA. And so those are the main points of the discussion board. But obviously, the more thought you put into that, the more research you put into your the thesis of your ideas, and the more support you give, the more toward that full credit of 40 points you're going to achieve each week. And so you're actually going to be getting a great many of your points for the semester from those discussion boards. And so I would encourage you to give a lot of your effort to that. And so you'll have each week to think about that. I'll post everything. I'll open everything for the following week, either Sunday night or by first thing Monday morning. So you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to do your discussion board initial post if you want to get the early bird points, or you have the whole week if you're not going for the early bird. The quizzes will open on Thursday mornings by 8 a.m. I'll probably open them on Wednesday nights or post them on Wednesday nights, and they'll open on Thursday mornings. But those will be available from Thursday through Sunday. So they won't be available until after we do these Wednesday night webinars. In case I decide to add something through the discussion of the webinar, there may be a question that we need to clarify in the webinar that may have something to do with the content of the chapters. I may decide to put in a question that's maybe discussed during one of these, and I want to have that flexibility. So those will open on Thursday mornings and will be open through Sunday evening each week. There are 15 questions, objective questions, multiple choice, true, false. They are focused primarily on those chapter readings, but I do reserve the right to throw in a question or two related to what we do in our webinars. There's 30 minutes allowable on Blackboard for you to take that quiz, and it shouldn't take you that long. You read a question and click one of your choice answers. And I would say a maximum of 15 minutes for most people, unless you just really choose to pour over those answers for a long period of time. If you have a disability and require more time, you need to present me with your statement of disability so we can talk about extended time. Like I said, the additional assignments are the choice assignment, which I'll discuss in greater detail next week, and the research paper and the group assignment. So next week, you won't have one of those assignments due. You'll have just the discussion board, the chapters, the quiz. The group assignment, the research paper, as I mentioned to you at the outset, you'll need to start thinking about your topic that you want to delve into in greater detail. We can talk about that a little bit more as we get deeper into the semester, but I think as you read and do some of the activities that have to do with the content this semester, your eyes will be open toward things that you want to discover more about. I would like it to be meaningful to you as far as your career is concerned. And so look at something that would have meaning to you in your career, but also, of course, has to do with the subject matter of the course. The group assignment, I will put you into groups with classmates that I feel like are complementary to your skill set and that you could work well with as far as topics and that sort of thing are concerned. And we'll talk more about that as well as we go along. The approach to the course, and I think this is really critical, key information here. This course is one that has very much a what I would call a high level of graduate bent to it. If you are currently a teacher, and not everyone in this class is currently a teacher, but if you're currently a teacher and you're planning to continue to be a teacher, then I think you need to see yourself as moving toward the expert teacher role, moving out of the novice teacher role and into the expert teacher role. I do not approach this class the way I approach an undergraduate class at all. It's very much geared toward people who are looking for advancement in their career. So people who are looking toward administrator, supervisor, coordinator positions in special education. A good number of our students are individuals who are working toward educational diagnostician certification. So we've got a lot of those people who are moving toward that. So I want you to see the assignments. You might want to mute your. Can you mute your? This is our hearing impaired student. Hi there.
Who made it?
Can you mute your
I said hamburger.
Heather, can you mute your screen?
Yes.
Mute your computer so that we don't hear background noise.
I did. No.
And I guess your Heather's great. Yeah, good deal. Heather's interpreter. Are you Heather's? If you're Heather's interpreter, you're Heather's interpreter. I guess so. Okay.
Did you see the chat she just sent?
I don't see my chat. I can't find my chat. What does it say?
It says, hello, I am Heather's tutor helping her with this class. This is probably the best way for us to communicate with y'all.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. I can't find my chat screen. It's up here somewhere. I may have it covered up with my PowerPoint. Okay, I need to tell her that. Let's see, where is my more? Maybe it's under more. Well, there's my chat. Okay, I found it. Okay, let me type something to her real quickly.
Sure.
Video. Caption. Okay. Okay. So, I think it's important that everybody be focused on understanding that the focus of the course is toward that next level of your profession. What does that say?
It says, okay, perfect. We thought this started at 7.
started at 6. Actually, 6:15 due to user error. Um, okay, so let's back up a little bit here. So I think it's real important that if you're currently a teacher, that you switch to a mindset of that next level of your profession, that you begin thinking of yourself as a trainer or a coordinator or a supervisor or that expert teacher, or make sure that you see yourself as a graduate student rather than an undergraduate student, because the whole focus of the course is that. And I'll talk about that. Does somebody have a question?
With
Okay. We'll move on then. Does Heather have a question? No? Okay. The activity this week asks that you put together an assignment or a staff development of sorts for your a group of related service personnel, or a let's see, I didn't read it. Let's see. Yes. Let's see. Let me type something to Heather real quick, y'all. Heather, I discussed each goals. You know what? Hope and Megan, would y'all mind if I just backed up for a minute?
No,
Sure.
not at all.
Go for it.
Okay, let's do that real quick, if y'all don't mind.
No.
That's
Okay.
fine.
All right, Heather's assistant, what is your name? Heather's assistant? Okay. What is Heather's tutor's name? Did she say what her name was?
No.
Okay. Heather's tutor? Can you hear me? All right. Joanne, okay. Is Joanne hearing or deaf also? Okay. I just didn't know Joanne was hearing what. Okay. Then I'm not going to go back and repeat because neither one of them are hearing. Okay.
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 You know what? I'll look at the discussion board. Let's just go over these real quickly, okay? Discussion board, initial posts by. Oh, let me back up. I think I will do that real quickly. I'm winging it, y'all. Okay. We've got the calendar. We've got the discussion board. We've got the activities. We've got the quiz, choice assignment, research paper, and group assignments. Okay? And then the discussion board, initial post by Wednesday for full credit. Follow-up post by Sunday, where you respond to everyone else. You offer a thesis of your ideas. You support with sources, and you use APA. Okay?
Okay.
Then quizzes, open Sunday through Thursday each week. 15 questions each. Multiple choice and true false. Focus on chapter readings, and 30 minutes allowable. Okay?
Okay.
Then we'll have these 3 additional assignments, the choice assignment, the research paper, and the group assignment. And we'll talk about each one of those as we go along. I do want everybody to have this shift in professionalism from undergraduate to graduate, novice teacher to expert teacher, and teacher to more of that helping professional at the next level up. Administrator, supervisor, coordinator, educational diagnostician, whatever your field of interest is. But I want you to be shifting from whatever your present situation is to that next level. So let's talk briefly about the 3 chapters that we've looked at this week. Chapter 1 discusses the who we're talking about with severe disabilities. So we talk about students who may have intellectual disabilities, and we divide that group with intellectual disabilities into 4 levels. They can be mild, moderate, severe, or profound. But the students that fall into this category are those in the lower 3, moderate, severe, or profound. And sometimes you hear people just group students and they say, well, he's severe profound. Well, that's an incorrect usage of the term. We are a student who is moderate, severe, or profound, depending upon the level of their IQ, their intelligence. I actually had a meeting with a friend a day or so ago, and she said that she knew a young man who had passed away who was severe and profound. Well, he may have been served in a classroom for students who were severe and profound, but he's not severe and profound. He had a severe or profound intellectual level, but we need to be careful about the way we identify people. The student's intellectual level was either at the severe or profound level, but the student is not severe and profound. Perhaps the classroom where they were served students at that intellectual level. Your book talks about a number of different syndromes that serve students in this population. And I won't go into those in detail. You can read about that. Multiple disabilities in this area. The more significant levels of autism will fall here. But most of the students that we see in our schools, we think about with autism are those who function at the higher levels, who are maybe integrated into general education more. There certainly are those students with autism that function at the lower end of the spectrum, and those are the students that we're talking about here. Chapter 2 leads into a history of serving these populations and how we've done that rather poorly sometimes. It talks about inclusion, integrating populations with severe disabilities into the educational system. It talks about self-determination. Our video that we watched very briefly last week was about self-determination. Talks about participation of students with disabilities in the general education setting, and then some best practices. And then the third chapter deals with collaboration, all the different individuals who will help to serve individuals with significant disabilities and how they work together. Then the video that we watched for this week's discussion board, I think is one that is really an interesting one. Usually brings about quite a bit of good discussion. I think that I've already read some of the posts that have been put up on the discussion board about that, and they're quite interesting. Some of your perceptions are right in line with some of mine, that the family didn't do a very good job in this circumstance, nor did the caregivers, but it's interesting to hear what some of you all have had to say about it. Unfortunately, those situations are not outlandish, as outlandish as they may seem when we hear about them. I remember a situation maybe in the last calendar year of a young woman in Arizona who was in a group home who actually gave birth, I believe, to a baby. It was certainly big in the news. You may have heard that story. That she was under the care of people in a group home situation and molested, and then actually gave birth. Megan, I think you gave some interesting feedback in your post about your experiences in the nursing home realm.
Yes.
And I thought it was a very interesting comparison that you made between the two settings. I also found it interesting because I think that a comparison can be made to the grief that families go through. And the thing that the mother said, you know, I was kind of torn about the way I felt about her in this video, but I think she was trying to make things right as the video went on, but I think probably she was misled earlier in her life. I don't ever want to assume the position that a person's in who deals with those kinds of issues, but I do know that people who place older family members in facilities, oftentimes the grief that comes about as they go to see them, the sadness, keeps them away. And I think that's probably what happened with this family. But I think, as you pointed out in your post, that there was a total lack of family involvement that allowed some of those situations to exacerbate, and maybe some of the worst of it, the pregnancy and some of those kinds of things that we were told about in that video. I don't know if you all noticed, but at the end of the video, when it tells who the director and producer and all of that were, the person who put the video together was the nephew that we saw in the video. And so there was a real vested interest.
And something that I always had to keep in mind in the nursing home is that regardless of what disability my residents had, whether they had dementia, which is very similar to autism in a lot of ways once it develops,
yes,
or if they had autism and they were older now, you know, it like elderly, that doesn't go away, but they are still adults. And so they have rights, and we cannot deny them what all other adults have. And that was a really big thing. You look at this person who can not drive anymore or can't function on their own anymore, but they still have all of these rights and can make their own decisions. So it's a really fine line that you have to walk on that side. You know, I might feel that I know what's best for them, but they're an adult and they get to make that decision.
I think you're exactly right, and that's a point well taken. So that leads us to our last screen here, which you can't see very well there. Any questions that anyone might have about the construction of the course, or what you found in chapters 1, 2, or 3? The assignments for this week, the discussion board, the future of the course. Hope, did you have a question?
Yes, I would like to know if on the calendar, could you add like the specific date where the assignments are due?
Yes, they correlate with those weeks. Everything is going to be due at midnight on a Sunday night of the week that it correlates with. But I mean, I can put those up if that will help you.
Okay, so I'm looking at it on my laptop. So Unit 1 is, everything in Unit 1 is due this Sunday, right?
Right.
Okay, and everything for Unit 2 is due next Sunday.
Right.
Okay, so that's fine. I get it now.
Yeah.
With the exception of the first posting, which is due Wednesday nights.
Hi,
Correct.
Michelle.
Right. If you want to get full credit for the post, then you post by Wednesday.
Okay.
You don't have to post until Sunday night. The whole post is not due. Everything's not due until Sunday.
But
Sunday.
that doesn't leave opportunity for people to respond.
Every week, right?
Right. Discussion boards are every week. And quizzes are every week except the last one.
Yeah.
Sorry for joining late.
Oh, hi, Michelle. I hear you.
I get it. Thank you, Dr. Kevin.
Michelle, I don't see you, but I hear you.
I see myself.
Really?
I can see Michelle.
I can
You
see
can.
Michelle.
Okay. Maybe I just don't have enough pictures.
There's a arrow button on the right so you can see everybody
Well,
on our end.
I don't see you. Okay.
Dr. Kevin, you had kind of started talking about this week's assignment,
Yes.
and then we got distracted. Can we talk about that?
Sure. Yes, thank you for redirecting me a little bit. What I'm thinking of there is that you need to think about a way to create some sort of a staff development for either your related service personnel or your paraprofessionals at the district level that would help them with your population. and you can direct it either of those two ways. But, and I think this is probably what compelled me to put that slide in about the approach to the course, because many of you you may still be teachers. You may not yet be teachers, but you have to, for a master's level course like this, you have to think beyond being a teacher. You have to think about in a more global perspective. A master's level course is preparing you for that next level of service. And so the assumption is that you already have your undergrad, that you already have served as a teacher, that you are looking at that next level of service. And so the assignments are directed in that regard. So that floor of being a regular, everyday classroom teacher and just doing what everybody else does is assumed to be behind you.
Bye, Heather.
Bye, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Okay, so they've signed off. Hi, Michelle, you popped up on my screen.
I'm sorry, I apparently got the time wrong. I have 2 classes with Zoom meetings. So.
Well, I think in the little intro video, it still said 7. That was from last year. But then in the invitation, I put 6.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to be at the office so late. So that was
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
So are they all going to be at 6 on Wednesdays?
Well, let's talk about that because y'all are the faithful few who have signed in. Do you want them at 6? You want them earlier? You want them at 5? You want them at 4? When do you want them?
Let me check my other class because the other professor normally has Zoom meetings on Wednesday. This week is moved to Thursday
Okay.
because of a conflict.
Well, I am going to do them on Wednesdays.
Right.
Because that's my office day. So I will do them on Wednesdays. I can do them at any time between 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. I'd rather not be here too late because that leaves me here in the building all by myself. I'd like to leave here when it's still daylight, if possible.
6 works well for me.
6 o'clock works well. Well, I thought 6 would be a pretty, last year I did them at 7 because I thought, well, you know, people have to get home from work. And then I thought, most of y'all aren't working. At least you're not working, you know, a job where you have to get home at 7. So I figured 6 might work. So if you want, we'll stick with 6. Hope, does 6 work for you?
Yes, it does. I like 6.
Okay. Michelle, does 6 work for you most days, you think?
It just really depends on the other class. If it's okay that I just chime in late,
Sure.
I'll do the best that I can.
Yeah, and like I said this at the beginning, you don't have to chime in at all.
No,
It's
I
not
know.
required. This is technically an online class. And so nobody has to chime in. I think it's good to have some discussion if somebody's on. But typically we don't have more than a handful. But there may be a night when, and I did this last year when I taught this class. I had a teacher of students with significant disabilities join us one night and had a discussion. And that was a night that we had a few more people. And it made for a richer discussion. Because ordinarily most people who are taking this class have not taught this population before. Some people have, but most have not. So usually this population is a little bit scary to most people who take the class. Particularly our general educators who haven't taught special ed. You know, it's a population they haven't worked with much unless they've done Special Olympics or something like that. But some of our special educators have worked with this population. We had one student last year who this was the population that she had worked with exclusively. And that made for a really good addition to the class, somebody who had worked in, you know, what we
For Michelle, have y'all worked with a low incidence class?
I've had students with autism and various ID disabilities, but not to the severity that Jill was at. No.
Hope.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Just autism, once Down syndrome, and IDs, but not like cerebral palsy or like more significant. No.
Okay. This is the type of kids that I work with now. I'm in a kindergarten skills class, and we have anything, it's a pretty big range. I have kindergarten and first graders, and some are more functioning and they get quite a bit of inclusion time with a gen ed class because they can maintain their behavior, but cognitively they're ID. And then I have the flip side with some nonverbal. I have one student on a feeding tube who is he's an infant basically, but he's 6. But from what we can tell, his working memory or his brain is at like a 2 or 3 month old. And he can't walk, he can't function, he can't feed himself. He can't really see. We think that he's both deaf and blind, but we can't ask him. And it's really hard to even for the physicians to kind of identify where he's at. So these are the kids that I do work with. So
Wow.
hopefully I can add something.
I hope that you will, and I feel certain that you can.
Yes, thank you, Megan.
And Michelle, this is Megan.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Michelle is one of our other diagnostician students who will be finishing up this year as well. And Michelle, Megan is new to the diagnostician program. But we have several students in the class who are not in the diagnostician program. So last year, I think we were all but one student was in my program, but this year we've got a number who aren't. So it's not just our little party. Any other questions?
No. My Zoom for the other class is at 5:30, so it just looks like I might run a little late depending on how long his session goes.
Okay. Well, then it's after 7. I will close for tonight, and I will save this. It will be captioned and posted to the resources file, and I'll put the PowerPoint up as well. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The quiz will be posted and open by morning, and you can attempt that whenever you'd like. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I'll be happy to entertain any questions via email anytime you have any. And otherwise, I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.